He thought running from home would free him, but his father's fury followed like a shadow. Ivan, 19, found shelter in the apartment of Marcus, a 40, something paramedic whose calm voice and steady hands promised safety. Yet every glance carried a forbidden spark neither could ignore. One night their closeness erupted in a kiss that changed everything, but the world outside their locked doors wasn't blind. A furious father, a suspicious lieutenant, and the threat of police turned their fragile bond into a war zone of desire and fear. Every touch could be evidence, every word a weapon, every choice the difference between love and ruin. As sirens closed in and fists pounded the door, Ivan was forced to face the most impossible question of his life: protect himself and walk away or fight for the man who risked everything just by letting him in. But when the door finally broke open, whose side would he choose? Dad waited until the cake was cut to gut me. He tapped his knife on Mom's best china, raised his phone like a sermon note, and read my messages aloud. My name, a stranger's first name, too many see you after, and a picture I should never have sent. His voice stayed calm, the room did not. Forks froze. Mom's smile broke like thin glass. Is this who you are, Ivan? He asked, as if the answer could still be negotiated. Heat climbed my ears, my hands went cold. I said yes. I said it like ripping a bandage off skin I had been hiding for years. My brother stared at the table as if the wood might explain me better than I could. Dad stood. We will not enable this. He spoke like a man canceling a policy, not a son. Tonight we fix it. He took my phone, my chest hollowed. I wanted to grab it back, but Mom's knuckles whitened and I stayed seated. He led me into the garage where the air smelled of oil and winter. He locked the interior door. On the workbench, he laid out a Bible, his hand steady, his jaw set. Kneel, he said, not angry, just certain. I laughed, a small sound that surprised even me. No, we will pray until this passes. It's not a cold, I said. It's me. He stepped closer, and I felt the old boyhood instinct to shrink. I didn't. I kept my shoulders square, felt the concrete through my socks, and said, unlock the door. His palm landed on my shoulder, heavy, proprietary. Son, he said, don't make me call Pastor Dean. Call him, I said. Mom knocked, small and frantic. Please, Tom, she said through the door, voice cracking. Not on my birthday. A silence. He let go. Pack a bag, he said finally. If you want, choose the house won't choose you. I went to my room while relatives murmured in the hall. I took the duffel from high school and stuffed it with jeans, 2 shirts, the hoodie that still smelled like last fall's bonfires, the photograph of me and Nate at the county fair. I wanted the framed one of all of us, but it felt like stealing a portrait from a museum I was banned from. Nate slipped in and shut the door. He hacked your cloud, he said. He thought he was saving you. I'm not drowning, I said, though it felt like someone had poured an ocean into my ribs. You're leaving, his eyes were red. He said the house won't choose me, I answered, so I'm choosing anything else. Nate hugged me hard, a clumsy collision that smelled like laundry soap and panic. Text me where you go, he said. It'll help, whatever he says. When I opened the front door, the guests pretended they weren't watching. Dad stood by the mailbox like an agent deciding who gets on the plane. He handed me my phone face down. Numbers will be restricted, he said. Only family. I turned it over, opened settings, and removed the restriction while looking him in the eye. A micro-rebellion, petty and vital. You can't fence a life with toggles, I said. He exhaled through his nose. Don't come back here drunk on confusion. I'm sober, I said. I'm just done. I walked to the end of the block because calling a rideshare from the driveway felt like cruelty to Mom. Every porch light was a jury. The app found a driver 12 minutes away. 12 minutes is forever when your life is a burning room and you're carrying the one box you grabbed. Mom texted, be safe, then I love you. I typed I love you, deleted it, typed him okay, deleted that too, and finally sent a heart. It felt like dropping a coin in a well and hoping a different wish came out. The car didn't show. The driver canceled. Another did the same. My battery sank Alvarez, a neighbor who always watered her geraniums at 6, took out her trash and pretended not to see me, then turned and said, Do you need a ride, Mijo? I'm good, I lied. I started walking toward the bus station. I passed our church. A poster in the window promised a series on truth and compassion. 2 words I had watched cancel each other out. At the station, the bench was cold metal that made my thighs ache. A vending machine hummed. I bought a bottle of water and couldn't drink it. My phone hovered at 8%, the kind of number that lies. Across from me, a corkboard held missing. pet flyers and a handwritten ad. Room for rent, month to month, no questions asked. The tear off tabs looked like teeth. I took one and folded it into my wallet like a talisman I didn't believe in. I imagined Dad at the sink, rinsing plates as if routine could bleach a night. I imagined Mom pressing her fingers to her temples, bargaining with a God who already knew. I pictured Nate in the driveway, staring at the dark where I had been. The bus sighed into the station, blue lights washing the curb. I hesitated. Home was 10 blocks behind me, built on rules that held me together and then cut me open. Ahead was an aisle of vinyl seats and nobody's name on any of them. I put one foot on the step, then the other. The driver didn't look up. Where to, he asked. Anywhere north, I said. It wasted bravery. It was the only direction that didn't lead me back to the garage. He printed the ticket, thin paper that tears if you hold it too tight. I didn't tear it. I sat, set my bag between my shoes, and felt my heart thud once, twice, a rhythm that said I was still here. Through the window, I saw my street recede like a paper ribbon, wavering, refusing to tear even as the bus pulled away slow. I kept my face forward and my hands still, waiting for a future I had not chosen to choose me. Nate texted, "You okay?" I typed yeah and erased it. Mom wrote, "He's calm now," which meant he wasn't. Dad sent, "Return your keys." I replied with a photo of the set on the kitchen hook. ID left swinging. 3 dots appeared, then vanished like a blessing withdrawn. 2 stops past the station I got off to avoid our driveway. My battery flashed 5%. I unfolded the tier, off number from the corkboard, and dialed. A voice answered on the second ringlow, even, the kind people trust in disasters. "This is Marcus," he said. "Room ad, yes," I said. "Weekly is all I can manage. No references." I left fast. A pause that weighed options, not morals. "You safe on a sidewalk," I said, holding my life like a cheap bag. "Julie's diner across from the depot," he said. "Sit where you see the door. Order something hot so they don't rush you. 5 minutes away, brown jacket, gray hoodie, ill wave first." He hung up without asking my name. It felt like a choice he was leaving for me to make. Julie smelled like burnt coffee and mercy. I kept my back to the wall. When the bell over the door chimed, a man matched the voice, mid-40s, tall, hair clipped close with a streak of silver at the temple, calm shoulders, hands nicked by work. He lifted a hand, waited for my nod, and stopped an arm's length away. "Marcus," he said, "you must be Ivan." He sat only after I gestured at the chair. "Tea," he told the waitress. "Put his on my tab." "I can't pay," I said, "too fast." "You will," he said. "Just not tonight." His hoodie read City M's under the jacket. The steadiness made sense. He didn't stare, he observed. "Rules are on the ad. Month to month, week to week if needed. No questions asked means I want dig. It doesn't mean lies hold. They don't, not even the ones you tell yourself. Okay." "I'm 19, I said. "If that changes anything." "It changes how careful I am," he said, no smile. "You lock the door? I stop if lines blur? And you don't pay for sandwiches tonight?" A fraction of armor loosened under my ribs. "Okay," he set a key on the table without pushing it toward me. "Come see before you decide." We walked 2 blocks in silence that wasn't awkward. The building had been a pharmacy once the old neon name was dead except for a flickering. In tube, a twin bed, a dresser, a window-facing brick, and a new deadbolt shone against chipped paint. "It's small," he said, "but the lock is new." I touched the bolt. "I like new. Bathroom down the hall, M2. I work nights." "M's," he nodded. "We get called when people think the worst already happened. Bodies keep going anyway." His phone buzzed. He silenced it without theater. "You can crash and decide in the morning. Cash or transfer later. One rule, if someone shows up angry, you don't open alone." Something behind my sternum unclenched. "Deal." He nudged the key toward me a single inch. An offer, not a rescue. I took it. Metal cooled my palm like an earned coin. On my way to set the duffel down, my knee buckled the delayed tax of adrenaline. Marcus caught my wrist on reflex, not tight. His thumb landed where my pulse sprinted. Heat rose where he touched me, simple and immediate. He felt it too. I saw the quick recognition then. He let go faster than gravity. "Sorry," he said. "Old habit." "You okay?" "Yeah," I said, hearing the tremor. "Just the day." He stepped back until his shoulder found the frame, making space again. "Clean towel in the closet. Extra charger. You look like 1% in more ways than one." "2," I said. Generous, he almost smiled. "Call your people. Tell the ones who deserve to know you're safe." I texted Nate, tube key breathing. He replied with exclamation points and a photo of the empty driveway. Mom asked hotel. I typed a place and left it at that. Dad sent nothing. The silence was a radio stuck between stations. From the hall a door opened. A woman with purple hair and a moon print robe peered in. New kid, she asked. Iris. I grow plants and ignore drama. Mostly Yvonne, I said. She winked at Marcus. He passes the vibe check. She vanished like a stage cue. Marcus shook his head, amused. If you lock yourself out, she'll let you in with a bobby pin and a lecture. I sat on the bed. The mattress sighed like a person. Marcus lingered in the doorway, waiting to see if I'd let him leave me alone. Thank you, I said, meaning more than the room. He nodded, a whole philosophy in the tilt. You don't have to tell the story to deserve the blanket. At the threshold he hesitated, then set a folded gray sweatshirt on the dresser. If you get cold, he said. Across the hall. He kept the door open until I turned the lock. The click traveled through me like a promise. A boundary could exist without punishment. I held the sweatshirt to my face and breathed in something clean and strangely kind. In the building, footsteps, a laugh track, a distant siren life, not a verdict. I lay back without undressing, phone charging, shoes still on, hands folded like I might bolt, the key's bite mark pressed into my palm. My mind replayed the moment his thumb found my pulse. The touch had been clinical and careful, but my body didn't file it under medicine. It filed it under warmth, not a romance, not yet. Just the idea that two strangers could be a door apart and both decide not to shut each other out. I set the phone face down and watched the battery climb a blue bar at a time, the room holding steady around me like a hand that didn't squeeze, only stayed. I exhaled. Sleep didn't come easy. The mattress might have been decent, but my mind was stitched with the day's bruises. Every time the pipes hissed or someone laughed on the floor below, my chest jolted. I kept thinking about the garage door, about Dad's hand pressing down, about Nate's quick hug goodbye. The new lock gleamed in the dark like an eye, daring me to trust it. At some point past midnight, a sound pulled me up, the creak of the hallway floor. A soft knock followed. 3 taps, measured, not demanding. It's me, Marcus said, voice low through the door. I opened it an inch. His jacket was gone, just the gray hoodie, sleeves pushed up. He held 2 mugs of tea. Couldn't sleep either, he said. Figured company beats staring at the ceiling. I let him in. The room was small, so his presence filled it quick. He handed me a mug, our fingers brushing for a second too long. Heat shot through my hand, hotter than the tea. He noticed I knew he did, because he looked away too deliberately. We sat on opposite ends of the bed. The steam curled between us. You handled tonight better than most, he said, walking away, not burning it down. I felt like burning it down, I admitted. His eyes flicked to mine, steady but softened. You're allowed to feel it. Just don't let it eat you alive. The words should have been fatherly, but the weight behind them, wasn't paternal, it was something else. Something watching me carefully, trying not to step too close to a line. I asked about his work. He told me fragment sirens at 3 a.m., strangers clutching his sleeve like he was the last rope. He didn't dramatize. He just carried the stories like heavy boxes he was used to lifting. The way he spoke made my chest ache, not from pity, but from wanting to know how someone held so much and still sat calm beside me. The tea cooled, my knee brushed his. I pulled back fast. He didn't move. Silence stretched until it wasn't silence anymore. It was pressure, thick enough to hear in my ears. Even, he said finally, my name quiet but deliberate. Yeah, you don't have to explain yourself to me. Not tonight. Maybe not ever. But don't think I don't notice. His gaze lingered a second too long, like he was memorizing the lines of my face. I swallowed. My throat worked against words I couldn't decide to say. Notice what? He half smiled, the kind that hides more than it shows. That you're stronger than you know, and that scares the hell out of you. I wanted to argue, but the truth of it stole the fight. My chest rose, shallow, then deeper, like trying on the act of breathing again. The room shrank around us. His shoulder nearly touched mine. If I leaned a fraction, if he turned a little, the hallway light flicked on. Ira's voice floated, teasing, night owls, huh? Don't do anything I wouldn't. A door clicked shut again. The spell fractured. Marcus exhaled a laugh, small, embarrassed. She sleep, I swear. I laughed too sharp, too nervous. Our knees knocked again. This time neither of us moved. The tea mug sat forgotten. My pulse drummed at the place his thumb had rested earlier. He began. Yeah, I said, though I didn't mean it. He stood, but paused at the door. His hand hovered over the knob, knuckles pale. You're safe here, he said, softer than before. Don't doubt that. The door closed, but his presence lingered, stitched into the air. I lay down, staring at the ceiling, my skin buzzing like static. Safe was the word Head chosen, but the spark between us had nothing safe about it. Morning light didn't feel like morning, it felt like exposure. The thin blinds let in too much, the kind of brightness that makes every flaw stand out. I showered quickly, using the towel Marcus had left, then lingered too long in the steam because I wasn't ready to face the day. When I stepped into the hall, Iris was crouched at her door, watering a jungle of plants. "Your guardian angel left early," she said without looking up. "Shift started at 6. He's always gone before sunrise. Guardian angel." The words stung because I didn't want Marcus to be just that. By noon, I deconvinced myself the night before had been nothing, just tired nerves, accidental contact, 2 mugs of tea. I almost believed it until I opened my phone. 3 missed calls from Nate, 1 text, "Dad knows where you are." Ice spread through me. I called back, whispering, "How?" "He tracked your phone somehow," Nate said. "He's furious. He said Marcus is a predator for taking you in. He's planning to show up." I hung up before my voice cracked. My hands shook so badly I dropped the phone on the floor. When Marcus returned that afternoon, I was pacing the room. He dropped his M's bag and read me in a second. What happened? I told him. Too fast, too messy. Dad, the calls, the accusations. His jaw clenched. "You should leave," I blurted. "If he comes, it'll look bad on you. I don't want to ruin your life too." Marcus stepped closer, steady, almost too steady. "You're not ruining anything. He doesn't decide who I help, but hell twist it," I said. "Hell say you're—" I stopped, throat closing. "Say it," Marcus pressed. "A man taking advantage of a kid who's lost." The words hung like smoke. He flinched just once before he caught it. "Is that what you think?" "No," I said, too quick. "God, no. But what if it looks that way?" He turned from me, paced once, then faced the window. His shoulders looked heavier than last night, like every burden from work had climbed on to his back at once. "You need to decide if you trust me, Yvonne," he said finally. His voice wasn't angry, it was worse. It was tired. "I do," I whispered, then don't repeat his words. Silence stretched. I hated myself for saying it, even though it wasn't mine to begin with. I wanted to reach out, to anchor him back to me, but I stayed frozen by the fear that maybe I'd cracked something too deep. The knock came exactly then, hard, relentless. My stomach twisted before I even checked the peephole. Dad, suit jacket, Bible tucked under his arm like evidence. Marcus was at my side instantly. "Do not open," he said. But Dad's voice thundered through the wood. "Yvonne, come out now. This man is not who you think." I backed away, heart racing. Marcus' hand hovered near mine, not touching this time. His face was calm, but his eyes burned. "If you open that door," he said quietly, "hell drag you back to the garage. Decide." Tears blurred my vision. My body screamed to obey Dad's voice, years of training in every syllable, but another part of Messmaler knew wanted to stay behind this lock. The silence broke when Dad shouted, "You are not my son if you stay in there." Marcus' breath caught, subtle but sharp. His jaw flexed like he was swallowing words he couldn't say. I whispered, "Go. I don't want him to see you." His eyes met mine. A flash of something, hurt, maybe betrayal, before he stepped back into his apartment without another word. The door clicked shut behind him, and the hallway felt colder instantly. I leaned against my own door, chest heaving. Dad's pounding continued, each thud like a hammer cracking the fragile thread Marcus and I had built. And for the first time I wasn't sure who I had just betrayed, me father or Marcus. Maybe both. The pounding on the door didn't stop for minutes, but it felt like years. Dad's voice kept crashing against the wood, declaring me lost, declaring Marcus corrupt, declaring salvation only if I open. Each word was a nail. Each pause was worse than the shouting because in silence I could hear myself believing him. When the knocks finally ceased, I slid down the wall and sat on the floor, arms around my knees. The hallway went quiet. I heard Iris' door creak open, then shut, agging curiosity restrained by survival instinct. Nobody wanted to tangle with my father. Not even Marcus, especially not Marcus. I hated that thought. The night dragged. My phone lit up again and again. Mom pleading, Nate warning, Dad preaching. But I ignored them all. I wanted only one message, one name, and it didn't come. By morning, I couldn't stand the silence across the hall. I knocked, timid at first, then louder. No answer. His shift, I thought. Or maybe my words last night had drawn a line he refused to cross. I went outside just to feel air that wasn't recycled through vents. The city was sharp with winter, breath steaming like evidence of life. I walked blocks without knowing why. Every corner felt like a place Dad might appear, Bible in hand, voice ready to pin me back into his version of myself. At the diner, Julie gave me coffee without asking. "Rough night," she said, pouring. "You could say that." Her eyes softened in that way adults do when they see bruises no makeup covers. Sometimes family's the storm you survive to find your own shelter. I wanted to believe her. That evening, when Marcus finally returned, I was waiting in the hall like a stray. He stopped when he saw me, eyes tired, hair mussed from the day. He didn't speak, just unlocked his door. "Marcus," I said. The name came out smaller than I meant. He turned, steady but closed off. "You okay?" "No." The honesty surprised us both. "You left?" "I stayed out of a fight that wasn't mine." His jaw worked. "I won't be the reason he burns you worse." "You're not," I said. "He doesn't need reasons. He just needs targets, and I was born first in line." Something in his face shifted, like stone cracking. He stepped closer. Even that was all, but it carried weight. He opened his door. I followed. Inside, the apartment was sparse. Couch, shelf, a pile of M's manuals, one framed photo of a younger Marcus with someone I couldn't place. His walls were bare, but the room hummed with the residue of a man had spent years carrying other people's disasters. He sat, I stood, afraid that sitting would make me fall apart. "You shouldn't trust me," he said suddenly. The words stabbed. Why not? I've seen too much. People cling to whoever offers the first hand after the fall. Sometimes it works, most times it doesn't. He rubbed his face. "I don't want to be your rebound from a broken home." I crossed the space before thinking. "You're not a rebound. You're the first place I've felt steady." The confession hung between us. His breath caught, almost imperceptibly. Then his hand reached out, hovered, and finally touched my arm, light but sure. It was enough to tip me. I sat beside him. Our shoulders brushed. My pulse jumped. He didn't move away this time. The silence grew thick again, not empty but charged. His hand lingered. I turned toward him, and for the first time he didn't look away. Our faces inched closer. I could feel the warmth of his breath. The world narrowed to the space between us. Every nerve screamed to close it. A knock shattered it. Sharp, urgent, both of us froze. "Marcus," a voice called. A woman's older, commanding. He stiffened. "Stay here," he whispered. Through the peephole I saw her uniform badge. "Not Dad. Worse in a different way." "Marcus," she repeated, firm. "Open the door. We need to talk." He cracked it, body blocking me from view. "Lieutenant," his tone was clipped. "You've got someone staying with you," she said. "Young, word travels." My chest froze. "He's fine," Marcus replied. "That's not the point. You know the department's rules. Last thing you need is a complaint that you're housing some runaway kid. You want an investigation on your record. Silence." "His back tensed. Get him out," she said quietly, "or keep him off the radar. If his family pushes, they'll dig, and they'll dig into you." She left without waiting for an answer. Marcus shut the door, forehead against the wood. I stood throat dry. "What does that mean?" I asked. He turned, expression carved from conflict. "It means your father is the only threat. If the wrong people spin this wrong way, I lose everything, and me." I asked, "What do I lose?" He met my eyes. His were full of a storm head kept locked behind calm for years. "Maybe me." The words landed heavier than Dad's fists ever could. I couldn't move after Marcus said it. "Maybe me." The air in his apartment felt too heavy, like the walls were pressing in. He sat on the edge of the couch, elbows on his knees, head bowed like someone waiting for the defibrillator pads. I stood frozen, every part of me caught between running and falling forward. "You can't mean that," I said. My voice cracked. After everything, he looked up. His eyes were darker than the room, tired, raw. "I mean exactly that. If your father pushes, if the department decides this looks wrong, they'll bury me, and I've worked too hard." He broke off, jaw tight. "You've worked too hard to let me ruin it," I finished, sharp. He flinched like ID struck him. "That's not what I said. It's what you meant," I shot back. Silence stretched taut as wire. He ran a hand through his hair, and for the first time he looked his age older, frayed. "Not invincible. I don't want to lose you but if holding you means losing everything else." His words trailed, unfinished but loud. Anger lit in me, not at him, at the world that made me a risk instead of a person. I paced the small room, heart hammering. All my life I've been told I was too much, too wrong. And now even here I stopped, chest heaving. "You're supposed to be different." "I am," he said, standing. He stepped closer, slow, like approaching a fire he wastes and sure would burn him. But I'm still human, still afraid. The distance between us shrank until his chest nearly brushed mine. His hand lifted, then dropped, caught between desire and restraint. My body leaned before my brain allowed it. Our breaths mingled. "I don't want restraint," I whispered. Something snapped in him. His hand rose again, cupped the side of my face. Rough, warm, trembling. My eyes fluttered shut before I could stop them, and then his lips were on mine. Not cautious, not testing, urgent, breaking, desperate. The kiss wasn't sweet. It was survival. His other hand gripped my shoulder, holding me like I might disappear if he let go. I kissed back with everything I'd bottled. Fear, loneliness, rage, longing. The room spun. My hands fisted in his hoodie, pulling him closer. For one infinite second, the world's noise cut off. Then he tore himself back, breathing hard, eyes wide with alarm. "God," in his voice cracked. "This can't what?" My voice rose. "Can't happen, or can't be safe, because I don't care about safe. I care about this." He stepped back until his shoulders hit the wall. "You don't understand the cost. If anyone saw, if anyone even guessed, let them," I said. "They've already taken enough from me. Why should they take this too?" He shook his head, tortured. "Because they'll take me." The words gutted me. My chest felt hollow, burned clean. I wanted to scream, to hit him, to pull him back into that kiss all at once. Instead I whispered, "So you'll choose them over me." His silence answered. I turned for the door, but his hand caught my wrist. Not forceful, not rough, just desperate. "Don't go," he said, voice breaking. "Not like this." "Then give me something to stay for," I whispered. For a heartbeat, neither of us breathed. His grip trembled. His eyes softened, stripped of defense. "I feel it too," he said finally. "Every time I look at you, I feel it. I've tried to bury it under rules, under fear, but it's there, and it's killing me." My knees nearly buckled. The confession was everything I needed, and everything I feared. Before I could answer, a knock exploded against the door. Not my father's this time. Deeper, official, police. "Open up." Marcus froze. My stomach dropped. "Marcus Hale." The voice barked. "We need a word." He cursed under his breath. "They are here for me." I shook my head. "Why, your father," he said bitterly. "He must file a complaint. They'll say I crossed a line, that I preyed on you." "No," I said. "We can't explain. You think they'll listen?" His laugh was hollow. "They see a 19-year-old kid and a 40-year-old man. The story writes itself." The knocking grew harder. "Open the door, sir, or we'll enter." Marcus looked at me, torn apart. "If I open, they'll destroy me. If I don't, it gets worse." My pulse pounded in my ears. "Then what do we do?" His eyes locked on mine, haunted, desperate. "Decide if we fight together or if I take the fall alone." The doorknob rattled. The room shrank around us. His hand was still on my wrist, the echo of his confession burning between us. And in that moment, with the door about to break, I didn't know if I was about to lose him, forever, or be dragged down with him. The pounding stopped. Silence stretched so long I thought the world itself had gone still. Then the voice came again, lower this time. "Last chance, Hale." Marcus' hand slipped from my wrist. His eyes were unreadable fear, guilt, want, all at war. Then he whispered, "If you stay, they'll use you against me. If you leave, he wins. Which one breaks less?" I didn't answer. Couldn't. My throat locked. The door shook under another blow. I imagined it splintering, uniforms pouring in, questions asked with answers already written. In my mind's eye, Dad stood behind them, arms folded, satisfied. Marcus stepped toward the door, but stopped short. He looked back at me, chest rising and falling like every breath was an argument. "If they take me, don't believe the story they'll print. Believe what you felt." I wanted to reach for him, to anchor him the way he had anchored me, but my feet wouldn't move. The knob rattled again. "Decide," Marcus said. "Do I open it with you beside me alone?" My heart slammed. My body screamed two directions at once. I took one step forward, then stopped. The silence between us was louder than the knocking, and then the door gave way. Light and noise crashed in. Hands grabbed Marcus. Voices barked orders. My father's face flickered in the crowd, triumph or terror. I couldn't tell. I stood frozen, half hidden by the wall, watching the only person who had ever made me feel safe dragged toward a fate neither of us could control. His eyes found mine once more, pleading for an answer I couldn't give. I didn't move. The door slammed shut behind them. I was left in the echo, my hand still tingling where his had held it, the question gnawing at me like a wound. Had I, just saved myself, betrayed him forever?